I'm finally free from the personal hell I have been living for the past 2 months. For those of you who don't know, right now I am in my final semester of my senior year, and all of a sudden everything wanted to go to shit. Basically, I have been dealing with 3 creative writing assignments, all long ones, while reading a shit ton of text. I've had to reread Dracula, I'm going to have to reread Salem's Lot, and Interview with a Vampire, and Twilight for my vampire literature course. I am going to have to do all these applications for grad school. I have to work on this 90-page capstone. I have to write an entire screenplay, and basically my brain is just imploding. And then when I'm not doing that, I am babysitting an adorable but very active and vibrant 2-year-old, or I am at the gym working out to maintain my physique and to actually keep me from punching walls. And I haven't had a chance to read, even though I have a whole stack of books to be read in the corner and my Rory Gilmore reading list to go through. But thankfully, this week, I have my Tuesdays and Thursdays off, and I am going home for the weekend. And as a result, what I wanted to do was finally friggin' record. Because I feel horrible that I haven't gotten to do all the stuff I had to do. I have lists of things that I had planned to do, but it just wouldn't happen because after a day of writing and reading, I was exhausted. Not to mention the fact that I live in a noisy dorm where people knock very loudly and all kinds of bullshit. So now I have time to deal. But I kind of want to talk about my writing project, not to tell you so much what it's about, although I will get into a little bit of it, but just talk about the writing process and things I've learned about myself while doing it, because why not make a movie on writing while we're here? So basically, the 2 big writing assignments I'm working on are my senior capstone project and my screenplay for an independent study. For my senior project, what I wanted to do was write a reimagining of Snow White. I was inspired by a lot of fairy tale reimaginings that I had been reading and watching, both negatively and positively. And Snow White is one of those fairy tales that when I read it and think about it, I want to see things dealt with. I have seen so many reimaginings and reinterpretations and revamps of this story, but at the same time, I haven't really seen something that was close to what I wanted. The closest reimagining of Snow White that really struck to me, and this is going to sound weird, is Prettier, the anime I reviewed for my Magic Girl Anime Countdown, which I'm still doing. I will finish it. Don't worry. I just have to type up my proper review of it and then record it, just because I have been so busy writing I haven't had a chance to do the other ones. But it will be done. Don't worry. I got you guys. I'm not going to quit this project. I'm doing it. I want to anyway. But Prettier was the closest that came to really doing the duality between the Evil Queen and Snow White, and I felt like I wanted to build upon that. And so I have been rewriting this, doing this reimagining, and it's a fantasy story, even though it's a fairy tale reimagining. And what has been fun about it, I'll start with the pros first of all, is basically putting my money where my mouth is. I've talked a lot on this vlog, especially lately as I've grown up. You guys have seen me mature basically in how I think and the things that are passionate to me on here. And I've talked about the lack of, diversity and things dealing with, the LGBT community, minorities, and just, not having women being really, independent agents of their own. And so this fairy tale has really given me a way to put my money where my mouth is. I have done a lot of world building to create a world that isn't like our own, that does allow for more, sexual orientation fluidity, that has a very diverse kingdom, and I'm very proud of it. And I didn't do it to be politically correct or any of the bullshit that people will say. I did it because that's the world I want to do. It's a fantasy story, and as someone who loves fantasy and never sees herself in fantasy, I want to write something that I know is missing in that genre for me. So what I have been doing is taking different cultures, mixing around, and making a world in which that works, and which that can exist. And doing so has allowed me to work with different creatures that, you know, I felt a lot more interesting because I'm making my Snow White character go through 3 trials to kind of parallel the 3 times that she um, pretty much gets killed by the Queen in the Grimm's version. And it's been fun to really look at different cultures and see how they view different rites of passage and putting them into this story. And I'm just really proud of what I've been doing so far with it. It has been hard, however, to get to the cons. What I found, and I think is good to kind of talk about in this writing process, is that I have been basically wanting my story to be perfect on my first draft. And I was really pushing myself to like put all this great subtext and symbolism into it. But what I found was that that hurt my writing more than anything else. And basically what actually got me to write, and right now I've written about 33 pages of content, which I'm very proud of because my goal is, because right now for the assignment I'm doing it has to be 90 pages, and I will expand on that to make it into a full-length young adult fantasy novel. But right now I'm just trying to make sure it gets to the 90-page limit for my capstone. And what got me there was me not so much trying to force, but to let it come naturally. What I did, I took a bunch of note cards, and on each note card I broke down into chapters. In each chapter I wrote down the important plot points for each thing, what I needed that chapter to accomplish to move the plot forward. And once I got that, and basically when I was writing, my goal was get to this point, get to this point, get to this point. And that was as much of the boundary as I gave myself. So that way it could still be fluid and I could make the characters feel natural and not try to worry so much about forcing something that should just come naturally. If I'm writing the story well and I'm writing it the way, you know, it's supposed to be done, I don't need to really push these ideas. It'll come through in its own work. And I think it's important to recognize that and realize that, and realize that you don't have to be perfect the first try. I mean, I have great second and third readers right now. One of them is my teacher, another one's a fantastic friend of mine who wants to get into copy editing, and she has just been, she's my dream come true. I love her, I trust her with my work, and so she's been helping me to really, like, you know, because when you worry so much about technical stuff, sometimes, at least for me, it holds me back from really being creative. And having to keep going back and editing pulls me away from the story. So with that, I put my ideas on paper, and now it's something to work with. And that's what I figured is the most important thing. Just write something down. Everyone, I know that people on Tumblr and stuff will ask me for writing advice after I get started. You just have to start writing. It is the most simplistic answer, but it is the best one. If you don't put something on paper, you're never going to get anything done. And I think this project has really helped me solidify that. And I'm so proud of it, and I love it. And when it's done, I will be glad to share it with whoever is interested in it. And hopefully it'll be the start of something good. We will see. My screenplay is fun because it's completely different. It was basically, my pitch would be like, it's basically Easy A meets Gilmore Girls with, you know, an African American lead, because that's what I am, so might as well put myself into the media, why not? And what I loved about this story is how I've allowed it to really challenge my own ideas. Because the character is based not on myself, but on a part of myself that I feel I've been starting to outgrow. Which is the part of me who is very, you know, prideful and very, I don't want to say snobby, but I guess sort of pretentious in certain ways. Sometimes I look back at older videos, I'm kind of like, yeah, I was kind of up my nose and pretentious. Because I was young, and I wanted to feel smart, and I thought that being smart meant saying that I read certain things and doing certain things. And while I still, you know, have my sense of what I think is good and bad and whatever, what I have learned is that, you know, taste is taste, and you like what you like. And while it's great to criticize bad works of literature, there is this kind of sense of like talking down to, you know, kids who enjoy stuff just because, you know, they're young and it speaks to them. And I feel like what I think is great about YA, and why I think that it's important as a genre, even though I will talk crap about the writing in that genre because a lot of it does fall flat, is that, you know, it's hard to be a teenager. And I feel like I get that now more than I did when I was a teenager, because now I feel like as I'm getting to a point where I'm finally understanding myself, I realize how frustrating it was before when I didn't have an outlet for certain things that I needed, and I didn't have, you know, someone there for me to have my back. And I just now realize how important that is to have that, and, you know, dealing with my own internalized misogyny against being a girl and being girly and getting over that, about writing a character who is finding that out at a younger age than I did, and realizing that, you know, she isn't as smart as she thinks that she is, and really growing up in her own way by being challenged, and what she felt so secure in doing that using classical works of literature and making like this fun little parody and like kind of like back and forth cut format. I really love it, and I feel like this semester I am doing some of the best writing because I'm actually getting my mind ready to explore things that I was afraid to do, and really testing myself and what I believe into what makes a great story. And so it's just been a good experience, even though I'm stressed and all I do is sit in my room and drink V8 berry blend. This is my second bottle in 2 days that I'm almost done with, and it's kind of sad. But I have videos to record. I promise you guys I'm trying to do better, but it's just so much stuff to do. It'll get better, I don't know when, but it will. And I will keep you updated in the writing progress of these stories, but I will do my best this week to record a bunch so that I can post periodically. I also am going to be doing a bunch more book reviews because I have a whole list of them that I finally finished doing on Goodreads in here, so I can finally do it, and I'm excited, and I'm sorry, and thank you for being patient with me. You guys are my 7 stars. See you later.